Hey guys, today we talk about a book called The Crowd, a study of popular mind. It's from a French social psychologist called Gustave Le Bon. The book is about herd behavior and crowd psychology, and I read it many years ago to understand what influences the reasoning of a big group of people that end up having the same idea with obvious negative outcome when looking at it from a distance as an individual. I used this to become more successful at the stock market, one of my favorite hobbies. This book came back in my mind a lot recently because of all the events happening now on social media, Twitter, Facebook and Reddit, places where crowds can take form much easier than in the past. I witness a lot of extreme overreaction these days, let it be the No Man's Sky hype and now the anger about it. Let it be the Marina Joyce incident, where people got so hysterical they saw the girl was kidnapped by ISIS and they planned to bomb people who will attend the party she mentioned. There are also many witch hunts happening right now on Facebook, YouTube or Reddit. Just a small clue or even like can lead to a manic mob hunting down people on forums and even exposing personal information. Death threats is a common thing as well. A lot of illegal behavior is happening in those angry groups that can spread like fire over the web. It looks like they are not even realizing what they are doing. It feels like people get easily sucked into a hypnotized rage against anything without reason or thought put into the matter. It is very clear that the masses do not react in a logical way. Most of the time you can even see only destructive purpose guiding them. Similar to the stock market when the masses over and underreact. When there is a big party like it happened at the new economy bubble in the year of 2000, everybody bought overpriced stocks without bringing any thought to what they are doing. And the opposite happened when everybody sold underpriced at the 2008 crash. In his book, Le Bon is committed to the central role of the unconscious in human action, that he thinks is superior to reason. Le Bon thinks that individuals in the mass lose its critical ability and starts acting partly primitive barbaric when in a crowd. He also thinks that people in a crowd are easy to manipulate and that thoughts spread like an infection to all of its participants. He repeatedly emphasizes the small influence of reason, teaching and education, as well as the vulnerability of the masses for tags, grand gestures and clever deceptions. With social media on the web, I think the issue he mentioned is increased, as you can get a huge amount of people over social media discussing about the same thing. So the crowd spirit spreads way faster versus in the past. That's also the reason why the things Le Bon said in his book are now experienced multiple times stronger and dangerous. Le Bon rated the masses and their behavior as very poor and destructive. Masses are mostly driven by emotion rather than thought and reason. You can feel that when you talk to an angry mob of people, or just go to a subreddit and you say something the hive mind doesn't agree on. In that regard, I always have to think about people in the Middle Ages, in front of a marketplace. Somebody says something critical but thoughtful, and another one just shouts, "Let's burn that fucker," and the whole crowd just gets hypnotized by their anger and hangs the man without even thinking. A mass is basically impulsive, mobile, irritable, suggestible, naive, obsessed with exaggeration and ingenious ideas, intolerant and dictatorial. The individual can only in the mass ascend to heights or sink down into depths, mostly the latter. That's the reason you get bullied if you not agree with the common thought in a group. You be an outsider fast if you don't follow the herd. That's why reasoning is worthless on social media. The mob just comes and repeats simple rhetorics and set phrases like a mantra. Modern crowds are mainly characterized by boundless egotism. Those crowds bring decay and spiritual barren with them. The emerging mass age has to be assessed negatively, as here now overpowering masses are no longer bound by ideals, traditions and institutions. Le Bon said this already 150 years ago. Now with the web and social media, his worst fears must have come true. At the moment the biggest issue is that everybody can comment on somebody's ideas. Therefore the winners are those talking in the crowd spirit. They get the most followers and they destroy the intellectual thoughts with their emotional hate. The best thing would be if only direct messages would be possible on social media, without having a group of people discuss about things. If you only can talk with one guy, the crowd would not be able to make a herd and everybody would just stay as an individual. Those endless circles of people discussing about something in groups is not leading to anything meaningful anyway. But let's move on to Le Bon again. The members of a mass forfeit the critical faculties of which they have as an individual. Your personality vanishes. In masses, people who are normally very thoughtful can suddenly become very aggressive and dangerous. The crowd unleashes barbaric behavior you would not be able to unleash in yourself if you are on your own. But as you lost your personality in a crowd, you got the spirit of the crowd and don't feel responsible for anything you do, because in your mind the crowd is doing things, not you. You are just a tool of the crowd. The mass may not be able to differentiate from factual versus personal. They fall easily for suggestions. The effect is similar to getting hypnotized. The crowd gets hysterical fast and is easy to steer. You get that kind of feeling all the time when you look at an angry mob or just go to a raging forum. They don't think anymore, they are just hypnotized in their anger. And everybody close to them gets sucked in. It is a special drive that unfolds when you are in crowds. It is not easy to resist. The opinion in the mass is carried out by mental infection. The mass is only slightly intelligent. She thinks one-sided rough and undifferentiated, in both good and evil. The mass does not think logically, but in images, which are often caused by simple voice symbolism. The mass is easily excitable, gullible and erratic. The mass cannot be convinced by thoughtful arguments, but only emotional. That's the reason Hitler got so many followers. The core beliefs of the mass change only very slowly. However, you can see shifts from one extreme to another. First all wanted to help Marina Joyce, then weeks later everybody hates her. Because some think it was a publicity stunt just because a few people interpreted something she said on the stream incorrectly. Same with No Man's Sky. First the big hype and then the big angry. The crowd is never thoughtful. The mass act in extreme exaggeration. Similar things happen at the stock market. Getting sucked into the mass lets you do the wrong thing. You need to show character and stay as an individual, and not get poisoned by the crowd spirit. For the long run the mass might do the right thing on average, but the exaggeration points where they do something wrong are so extreme that taking part in that could harm your life as an individual. First they are too hyped about something, then they are too angry. The middle ground would be ideal. However, the mass is not able to rest in calmness. They always over or undershoot the target. The moral judgment of a mass is independent of the origin or the intellect of its members. The mass is judging by hasty generalization of individual cases. The beliefs quickly take on religious overtones and is often based on wishful thinking. Le Bon also talks about leader of masses. Guides and ideas are rapidly charismatic properties, nimbus or prestige. Without a guide, the composition is a flock without shepherd. Leaders are not thinkers, but men of action. Occasionally one finds among them nervous, irritable and half-crazy people. Leaders often act through a great eloquence. Great leaders can awaken a faith and thus control entire nations. The big problem in the web, there is no leader. That's why the masses have a craziness to them not seen before in history. Switching from one extreme to another faster than in the past. Without guidance, the mob just acts like a leaf in the wind. Guiding rule of leaders are usually violent. There are two types of leaders, effective short and long term. That depends on the perseverance of their will. Leaders act primarily through three methods. They make a statement, keep repeating it, and affect the minds of others by doing so, which leads to transmission because of imitation. If a leader doesn't work, it quickly loses its aura and goes under. All this justified Le Bon with numerous historical cases, studies, especially from the time of the French Revolution and Napoleon, as well as the French history of the 19th century. So that's it about crowds and how to deal with them, and how to understand their behavior. You can't just pay attention next time you join a discussion on YouTube or Reddit, and think about it first. Do you say stuff because you already got hypnotized by the crowd, and you speak at the will of the hive mind? Or you still have your personality and thoughts? Always try to make a step back when people start grabbing their pitchforks. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please thumbs up if you do so and subscribe to my channel. Share this also to people who could be interested in the topic, as it would help more people are aware of the issue and therefore make it more difficult for a crowd to spread their barren opinions and thoughts. Until then, see you next time, over and out.